Hello everyone, my name is Audrey Chavez and welcome to my presentation. So my presentation is about the event that I attended virtually. The event name was Amending America LGBT Human and Civil Rights. Through this exhibition, I was able to read stories from members of the community as early as 1978. The picture that I have on the top right corner is kind of what the documents look like on their website, just to get a little bit more of an idea of how their website looked. I chose this event because in my personal experience, I feel as if I hear a lot about this community, but I only know the surface level. I haven't really gotten the chance to hear much personal stories or history involving this community, and I do find myself assuming the struggles they've been through based on the surface level knowledge. So I thought that this presentation would be useful to kind of get a more in-depth perspective. So the way that this is different than my own identity is because I am not part of this community. I identify as straight, and I feel as if my own sexual orientation journey is vastly different from those from a different sexual orientation within the community. My thoughts on before attending this event was that I was going to learn a little bit about pronouns and what are the right pronouns and how to ask. I also thought that I was going to be able to learn more about cisgender, transgender, and I was excited to learn a little bit more about this community, but I didn't want to offend anybody. So through the event, I was able to read many stories, and I was a little sad that I couldn't experience this in person, but I'm happy that I was able to learn just as much through online. And the stories that I read through this event was very empowering. So the picture on the right side is a document from Joseph. So the story behind this document is that Joseph was born as Lucy, and this story takes place in 1829, and he married Marie, and he was taken into the asylum because he wasn't conforming to gender norms. And there's many more stories like this on the webpage, but I just was able to see the oppression that they faced and how resilient they are. And so I got to see that even though that they faced many obstacles, that they were brave enough to stand up for what they believed, and this was one of the strengths that I witnessed through this event. I also saw that no matter how oppressed they were, they never let their voice be silenced. Even though they didn't really have a lot of support because many found it to be unjust to have relationships with the same sex, they didn't let that stop them, and I thought that was a big strength for this community. So some of the policies that I found were I feel like same-sex marriage was a very big one. It was adopted in June 2015. This allows same-sex marriage to be legal in all 50 states, so that people can same-sex relationships can and will have the ability to get married. wherever they might be. In addition, I also found a policy that impacts this community is same-sex adoption. So it doesn't restrict same-sex relationships from adopting, even though there are some states that haven't passed this. California and Oregon and Washington are some of the few. And then another one that I found was the DAT, the Don't Ask, Don't Tell. So this was adopted by President Clinton. So what this policy was that if you were attracted to the same sex, they would let you enlist, but if they found out, you would have to enlist. So this only lasted until 2011, where Obama ended this. And he worked with the Pentagon to create a new bill where same-sex relationships would be able to enlist no matter their sexual orientation. Another law that I saw was the Equality Act. So this policy allows people from this community to not face discrimination based on their sexual orientation in public places. So this can include like work or public places like parks and stuff like that. So I feel like these policies are very beneficial to this community. So as a social worker, I learned a few things from this event. I learned that I need to be more aware and more patient when talking to people from this community. I need to allow them to be able to share their stories and feel comfortable. I'm glad that I was able to learn some personal stories as well as policies that are set in place to protect people from this community. But I do feel as if we do need more. But I think learning a little bit more about this population, I'll be able to be more confident. So by continuing to learn and continuing to do research on policies and resources that are set in place for this population will make me more confident to help future clients so that I can give them the best help that they deserve, as well as advocating more for this population. So working with social workers who write policies and being able to give them a perspective from a social worker who works one-on-one with this population will be able to help better this community. By learning more about this community, I'll be able to give them the right support that they need, as well as being able to provide a safe space for them. So I can be a changing agent by simply just listening to them and allowing them to express themselves and feel like they have somewhere they can come, because no matter what their situation might be, they should always have a place where they can come and talk and be themselves. I think also showing support to this community can also help be a changing agent, because I can attend events with them to show that I'm an active supporter and alliance to them, so that I can also learn from all the events that I go to be more culturally competent, as well as using the correct pronouns. So by asking them what exactly they like to be called without being disrespectful. and as well as being inclusive. So trying to avoid words that kind of um, aren't inclusive. So I think this would be helpful because we just need to show them that we're there to support them and be able to provide a safe space so that they can help and get the most out of us who are willing to help them. But these are my references. So that is all I have. Thank you for listening.